Welcome, guys, to Michelle's Opinions. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing to the people who I know, Susso. He is an amazing man. He's just come across my radar just as of late through Dark Wolf's Den. If you're not subscribed, check my homepage. He's under the featured channels. Um, and this man has actually taken his experiences and wrote a book. If I was to go buy the book on this shelf, I would think it would be under science fiction, but they're actually his true life events. Well, I'm going to let Suso tell you a little bit about himself, how you can find him. The link for his book, by the way, is in the show more notes. So, Suso, would you like to tell him a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Michelle. Sure. Thanks. Um, really was just working my way up in big business my whole life. And I always studied the supernatural, paranormal, always got into something. I was always into something esoteric. Um, got a chance to move around the country chasing casinos and ended up getting out. And what I believe, I've created a nice the reality that I choose to live. Um, and like she said, I wrote those experiences down, and I know here I am.
What's the title of your book, Suso?
It is called Mind Beyond Matter: The Mandela Effect. It's about 175 pages long, and it is about my experiences. Now, what's strange about it is when I wrote the book, I was just writing about my experiences. And, I would take it chronologically and I'd think of something else and I'd go ahead and write again. And then while I read the book, I finally had a chance to read the book to enjoy it rather than edit it, look for mistakes or whatever. And all these other stories that I totally forgot are coming in. Not a lot. I mean, four or five things that I think really would have made sense. Like I can't remember if I mentioned the another brick in the wall versus another break in the wall. When I listen to the song, I hear break, and some people hear it. Most people don't, but I've had a lot of people tell me, "Wow, that's weird. It says break." And now this Yanni Laurel thing comes up, and I kept steering away from that. And I just think there's a whole agenda behind that. It went viral the way it did. No. Anyway, um,
I actually looked into that a little bit myself. And what I did was I was able to, like, through the frequency, attune myself. And what I found was the person holding the device, it reminded me of that double slit experiment where there's an observer, they made this certain pattern. But when nobody was watching, it made this infinite pattern.
yeah,
So when somebody was holding the device, wherever what their intention was, that's what we were able to hear. I was able to hear Yanni only when the news people were passing it around and they did not know what they were going to hear. So they were actually unbiased observers trying to hear what they could hear. And each of them heard something different. But at that time, I heard the Yanni. Now, on the brainstorm green needle, I was able to hear brain needle, brainstorm, green needle. It just all was in my intention, what I was thinking on. So
that's
to me, that sounds kind of like an extension out of the Mandela effect that, this place is a little more pliable than we thought. So,
yeah. I would call it another form of the Mandela effect, and I think what it's showing us is we're going to be communicating another way. I think we might become telepathic because if we start talking and six different people hear six different things, what's that going to do? We talk
right.
about separation.
Right. But in this, it's a for me personally, it's like getting to understand who and what we are and coming together, is in hand and realizing how important we are to one another, how we actually buffer each other. Um,
Agreed.
you said, I'm sorry, I'm going to ask this like it was fresh. When did you wake up to the Mandela effect? And when you woke up, how did you feel? What did you feel in your body when you first had that first experience?
Well, in 2014, things were becoming very routine for me, very bland. I was very content. Not a place I like to be. I don't like to be content. At the end of 14, I had a couple of experiences. January came around and I was just bored. Uh, I started watching a lot of movies, just being bored with them, and rewatching movies, being bored. I get into February and I start looking for a conspiracy, looking for a UFO, anything to get me kickstart me. And I started checking out volcanoes. They kept saying something in Yosemite could go off in any day. And this was February 2015. And I was pretty interested in that. There was about a week and a half of me watching volcano videos. So one of my roommates said, "Look, if a volcano goes off, we're not even going to know. It's just going to be over." So I thought, okay. And, knowing what I know now, since there's no part of that volcano inside of Colorado, when back then when I was researching it, there was a part of that volcano in Colorado, right at northwest corner. It's out of it now. There's no part of it in Colorado. To me, it went off. A bunch of us shifted. March comes around, and the Mandela effect kind of starts to. That's when it really started to grow. See, I think I possibly shifted somewhere around there because flat Earth and Mandela effect kind of came out of nowhere, and I just couldn't go near the flat Earth stuff, and the Mandela effect. There might have been 3 or 4, maybe 5 videos on it, and the Berenstein Bears wasn't hitting me. I had to laugh because I'm like, I don't understand these Berenstein Bears. They were invented in 2012. Why does anybody care about these things? And then I find out that they've been around since 62. So for me, the Mandela effect is these things just came out of nowhere because I would have read them to my daughter. My daughter would have read the books. She tells me she has. She tells me I've read the books to her. No, I did not. Not me consciously. I'm sure there was some me in some
Wow.
other timeline that read those books to her. Yeah, and that's neat. But
That's mind blowing. I'm sorry,
to me,
I'm
it's
in
really
awe of
not.
you right now. Oh my, because I remember Bernstein Bears when I was a child, and just hey, continue, please.
Well, they came around. I remember staring at them in Pittsburgh. I was just like, wow, okay, new children's book. Blew that off. End up in Colorado. And that's when all the big things really started to happen to me. It's just, well, the impalement that I guess I should explain a little bit of. I don't know. It was like, okay, instead of talking about the impalement, because it's just such a long, drawn out story and it's great in the book. The way I did it in the book is perfect. Um, there was a possible death experience. I had one in '79, and not a month later, maybe a week later, I noticed McDonald's changed to McDonald's, and I just 19-year-old kid. I'm not thinking, oh wow, they changed the name or anything like that. No, the only thing that came to mind for me was they modernized their sign, and I moved on. You know, Now I look back and I'm like, wow, it was McDonald's, plain as day, MAC, plain
That's
as.
what we think is that somebody updated the logo or rebranded it, but then when you do the research, you're like,
Yeah. What
what?
research? What research was I going to do in '79?
And really, like, you'll see that it was like that from the beginning, and you're like, what? I mean, that's what boggles my mind is when you see these things and you knew, like Febreze. Febreze for me was breeze was spelled correctly. It was a fragrance in the breeze, and I can't to look it up now. It's always only had the one e in the breeze, and it's just that's what's mind boggling about that. But yeah, so it sounds like you got shook pretty hard to not even have memories of reading books to your daughter, but she has memories of it.
Yeah, she's funny, but she is affected. She is affected. She told me, Mickey Mouse doesn't have a tail, does have suspenders. Curious George does have a tail. Monopoly Man has a monocle, and a couple others. But um,
Let's talk about what are you gonna do? I heard that you're gonna write another book. And
I've
what
already started. I've already started about
you
four
already
books.
started it. Wow.
But
And
I'm also interested in having the 100,000 word. How do I word this? It's a book I wrote about that. Paul is dead. I mentioned it in my book that I wrote this book. I started it in 2001, and it was just a hobby, and then it grew and it grew and it grew, and now it's this monstrosity. And I do have to clean it up a little, but I figure, well, now that I'm a published author, it's going to cost me a lot of money to publish this. But I'm thinking maybe I'll just make like 9. Sounds like a good number for a Beatle book, and just to see, because it'd be an expensive book. Um,
like a
but
series
it's
of
really
9.
cleverly written. I mean, I dissected everything from before the first album to the latest Ringo or McCartney album, and that's very interesting. So I thought about getting that out, but recently I started I guess the sequel to Mind Beyond Matter, and 3 other fictional stories based on Mandela Effect events that I started. And I'm
Mind
gonna
beyond matter. Can you want to expand on that? Guys, I also want to tell you, if you look around where he is sitting, it looks like every single one of those items that he has surrounded himself with are things that we would be able to see are items that have changed that we would call Mandela affected. Am I correct in that, Suso?
Yeah, I'd say they're out of the 80 or so that are up here. I'd say maybe there's 10 of them, 11 of them that are 100 percenters for me, and then there's a handful of them that yeah, probably it just looks weird, it's strange, it's kind of off, and I'd say there's quite a few up here that I'm not affected by at all. Um, I say quite a few, like Joel Osteen here. I don't know if it was Osteen or Osteen. I don't know one way or the other, but I got
Right.
his book up here. But there's other personal ones up here. Nichelle Nichols, the woman died for me twice. She's still alive.
Well, you got me
Uh,
on OxyClean, Jif. I'm being affected just watching
people
you.
people were talking about the way Leprechaun was spelled. I got Prince, Dark Side of the Moon, Morton Salt. It's just Morton now. Cheez-Its are back there.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Cheez Its.
Right.
It's ITS.
Yeah. What did I
Yeah,
say? Cheez-Its? Did I
you
say
said it
Cheez-Its?
right. You said it right. It's just not what it says on the box.
I said it wrong in this timeline. I think,
Oh,
maybe
it's
we
right
need
to
to
be
learn how to
ready.
adjust.
Okay,
Uh,
is Mind Over Matter a
Mind
book?
Beyond Matter.
Mind Beyond, is that going to be a title to one of your books that you will be writing? And you
Um,
want to expand on that a little bit?
well, the next book that I'm writing after this one would be about like what's happening now that I wrote the book. And I have had a few experiences and some interesting ideas. Not as extravagant as the first book. Um, but I do have a lot of material to write. I mean, the first chapter will probably be me filling in things that I missed in the first book. Um, and then I've taken 3 weeks and I kind of unplugged. I really didn't unplug, okay? But I would leave my phone when I could. Most of the time, I have to have it on me because of work. Um, but other than that, when I'm sleeping, it goes off. The computer goes off. Whatever electric I could shut off goes off and go to sleep. When I wake up, turn on what I need. But now I think I'm just going to shut them down, not the phone. I need it for work. But I'm going to get off the computer. I did it for 3 weeks, kind of, because I mean, I was trying to wean myself off of it.
Except for book orders, sir. You're gonna have to check your emails for. Well, when they click on the link, will it take them directly to where they actually purchase the book, or does it go through you?
I believe it takes them right to the book.
Okay, then you actually could unplug because they have direct access to purchasing the book. I was just wanting to make sure that if you unplug, that your book is still able, to get out there for people.
Oh yeah, I'm just not going to. I've already gotten a couple of offers for interviews because of the book. I'm going to go out and do interviews. I'm pretty sure that's all I'm going to do. I've been walking around with a broken phone. It's like I've been saying I want to unplug. I lose my phone. I lost it for those 3 weeks. I figured this is perfect. Let me just try it. And I realized, the owner's trying to get a hold of me and can't. So guess I better get a phone. Excuse me. So I run out and get a phone, and it's just bad. It's not working properly. I can't text. I can only make emergency calls.
And you can't get calls in.
I can't. Yeah. And it's sitting there telling me, I kept memory full. And I'm like, all right. So I start deleting stuff. I'm deleting Facebook and all these big programs I'm getting rid of. It says, all right, 60% full. I go to try something. It says, you're maxed out, cannot use. I'm like, well, come on. So now it's, down about to get thrown up against the wall. But I was going to take it tomorrow to the place I bought it and say fix it or do something. And
that you have to double delete, right? Even though you delete it, you actually have to go and empty it out. It gives you a secondary chance to make sure you deleted what you wanted.
Couldn't find it if I tried.
Wow.
I will. But anyway, this today somebody comes up to me and goes, "Hey, look what I found." A month later, I get my phone. Now this is a very good phone, so I'm like, thrilled. Except that, I'm shutting the thing off now. I'm trying to get away from staring at that screen all the time, and I don't. But I get on people for doing it. It's disgusting when you get off your phone and put it down, leave it in your house, and to go for a walk. It's gross how many people are walking around with their face in their phone. And if you say something to them, it's always, yeah, but I just had to tell my kids this one thing, or yeah, but I just had to do this or that. Well, what? I'm doing something for work. I'm doing something for school. Whatever. I mean, that's what I always get. They always have an excuse, which I think is funny. I'm only kidding. I should be minding my own business.
I'm going to have to tell you, I agree with you. I walk around and I look at people and, from our generation, we didn't have these phones and stuff. We would go out and we'd come in when the street lights came on. And I make eye contact with people and smile. And I'll tell you, most people have their head down and usually they're looking at a device. It's like an excuse not to make eye contact anymore. So I can totally understand where you're coming from with, it's almost getting bored. I mean, you go out to dinner with, let's say, your family or something, right? You're sitting at the dinner table, and instead of, you're sitting at the nice restaurant, and instead of engaging in conversation, they got their heads buried in the phone. It's like, hold on a minute, I'm taking you out to dinner. Let's conversate. I'm right here. Do I need to send you a text message or? So I hear you on that, Susso. I mean, it gets just frustrating. And, I do think people need to set that stuff down. It has its good purposes, but then again, it's also a distraction and we need to focus more. So with unplugging, you're going to minimize and shrink down. And a lot of times when people do that, they can find that inner voice inside themselves too, when you quiet down all that background noise.
Well, I got to tell you, when I took my 3 day vacation. I mean, at the end of that 3 weeks, I took 4 days, and I just, I only went 2 hours out of my way. Amazing. I hot springs, vapor caves. I just did nothing but relax, shut the phone off. When I would come home at night, I would read my book. I'd wake up in the morning, walk, hit the hot springs, vapor caves, and I did. I started to feel it. I started to. The first night, second night, I was like, "Oh, I really want to get on YouTube and check some stuff out," and I might have peaked, but I didn't stay on long. I felt guilty, and I remember I'm like, "Oh yeah, guilt. That's not real." So I just shut it off, grabbed my book, started reading my book every night, and I'd say by the third night, that's what I wanted to do. I could feel the urge of not being near the TV or computer or phone, desiring not wanting to be near it. And I could feel that pull to where it's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I ever watched TV. I mean, that's what it's going to come to. It's going to be
Yeah,
something I don't really want to go near.
I took a year away from television, and I'll tell you what, they say, the eyes are the window to the soul, and what we're putting in, into our mind, you are putting back out around us. And I'll tell you what, it made a huge difference in stress, anxiety, depression, feeling small and
Agreed.
helpless and hopeless. Oh my God. And I got to tell you, all those zombie movies and things like that. That's what this kind of reminds me of. If everybody's just looking down at their phone and they're just walking through life, they're really not living life anymore. They're not engaging with one another anymore. All they're doing is engaging with that device. Everybody's still worried about AIs coming in and taking over. Well, that AI is already taken over if that's all you're doing and you're not experiencing and living your life. So that's, a very good and healthy thing to do, is to take those sabbaticals and center yourself back out. So the first book that you wrote is mainly about how it affected you, and it reads kind of like a sci-fi. And your second book is going to be more like an explanation of how you got into some of the conclusions that you got to. That's kind
I
of what
really,
I'm getting from it.
I
So
disagree. I don't think it reads as sci. Well, I mean,
if
to
I
me,
didn't, if
it's
I didn't
not
know
science
anything
fiction.
about, yeah, I know it's fact, but
This
if
stuff
I
really happened
was
to me. I'm sorry.
right, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. If I
but when you
wasn't
read
awake
it,
to
I
the
mean,
Mandela effect, and I
see,
never
that's
heard of
me.
it, if I read it,
I never looked at it that way. And you did mention that, and I thought, no. I mean, because I never looked at it as science fiction. To me, science fiction is Star Trek. That stuff's not real.
well, yeah, to you that it is, it's fiction. It's total truth. But let's say, you know, we talk about people that are asleep or unaware, or they don't see these effects. Now, if they read your book,
I
how do
see
you think
what you're
they would
saying.
perceive it?
Yes,
I'm
completely
perceiving it
accurate.
as
Yes,
truth.
I stand corrected.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not debating on your experiences. Not at all,
No,
sir.
no, no.
I'm definitely affected.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah, so that would be your secondary book, would be kind of like, is it, if I'm getting it right, is going to be the explanation on how you got to where you got, and the growth that you're making and where you're going from here.
Right. Yes, because to me, it's not about Mandela effects. I see one, I hear about one, and it's the same thing. It's a drug. I feel the urge to go check it out. It's the same thing. I when I get out there and I don't have my phone and my computer, and when I did this those 3 weeks, I talked to more people in public, in real life. This is the most I've ever spoken with anybody. I mean, on the computer. I don't go around talking with people. But now it's like everywhere I turn, there's always something to say, and I speak up. I mean, I've spoken with a lot of people. I saw a lot more. Um, I feel great still. Friday morning, um, did that. Came back. That was the end of my vacation. I mean, I could still smell the sulfur. I mean, it's just a very healing sensation.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, and that's what I was doing the comparison to the zombie movies and stuff. It's the people looking at their computers are the ones that or their cell phones all the time are the ones that are compared to zombies, and the people that are actually looking around and paying attention. They're observing these changes and how wonderful this place is, and it's a one big playground. Why stare at a device when you can
Right.
be out there participating? Myself, I enjoy going swimming. I can't take a computer in the swimming pool with me. I can't take a cell phone. I did for a friend a video of my waterfall for her, but that's about it. Otherwise, it's just me in the pool and the water, enjoying the sunshine. And I get it. I totally get it. It's a, you know, I deal with that with, my children are grown, but and when I brought up, taking people out to dinner and stuff, and they're sitting there looking at their devices the entire time, I want to have a conversation. I don't want you playing on your phone the whole time. They're too old for me to take it away from them. So
Right.
we just don't even go anymore. It's like, I'll just talk to you on the phone through your device, I guess.
Yeah, it's awful. It was funny. I think, geez, even back when my daughter was young, I've had her and three of her other friends in the back of the car, and they were sitting there texting each other. They're
Yeah,
all in the
sitting right
car.
next to each other.
Yeah, they're texting. They're all laughing, giggling.
Oh my gosh. And see, so I totally get it. Like I said, it was a year and we got to the point where, my husband was like, well, you want to just shut it off? I was like, no, I said, I may want to watch it at some time, but right now, it was almost like I was cleansing myself out, getting all that nonsense out of my mind and allowing my imagination to come back, allowing, the growth to participate in life. It's just an amazing thing to do is to, get away from the television, get away from the computer, get away from all of those things and allow yourself to, just be for a
It's an
while.
important part, and that's not an easy thing to do. I mean, I'm guilty of it now still. That's why I'm saying, hey, you know what? It's time to cold turkey it because I still hit Netflix, and it's like I'll go tell gamers, wow, you're not doing yourself any favors, and then I go running, put Fringe on or something. I mean, that's the same thing. No matter what I say, I need to be an example here. Especially, that's the whole idea with the second book. I've started to write it, talking about things that happened right after putting the book out and things I missed in the next book. But I expect to say, okay, look, day one, you know what? The orbs gave me a list of things to do. How many people would have done those things? Okay.
Did
I
you say
did them for I
orbs?
did them for about a month. I'm sorry?
What did you
Oh
say?
yeah. Shortly
Oh,
after
let's get into
shortly after
that.
shortly after my I was aware of the Mandela effect and I was aware of people claiming the earth was flat and I was kind of studying on both of them and just nothing was hitting me. And um then I had like an accident. It was kind of an impalement thing. It was an impalement thing. But I didn't know I was impaled at the time, and it was pitch black. I had no recollection. I didn't know that I was impaled, so I didn't believe it. I had nothing to believe. When I pulled this thing out of me, my consciousness shifted into another timeline where I didn't impale myself. That is my only explanation. If it's quantum, if it's infinite, that's what happened. A week after that experience, I started to notice Mandela effects and resonate with them. The Berenstein Bears just didn't click. They were putting up a couple other things. It just wasn't clicking for me. I had that experience. Now everybody's going, and it was must have been May or June of 2015 where people were going, "Hey, the heart changed locations. Where would And I'm like, well, the heart used to be here, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's where I impaled myself, and now the heart's over here. I'm like, okay, that's really neat. That was a week later. Then I started to notice other things, and I was blowing them off. Jupiter rising to Jupiter ascending in a day. Um, Blew it off. I would sit there and read up on Mandela effects and go, wow, I really want to experience a Mandela effect. I'd go experience one and then blow it off. I mean, it was making no sense at all. Then
Did you follow any of the like the signs in the sky, the blood moons, the Mayan
that
calendar?
was a very big thing for me. I very big. Went through a lot of mental, spiritual, and physical pain in October when that happened. September and October were huge for me, and I write about them in the book. But before that happened, I described very well in the book what happened as far as these orbs. I don't even know, they were giant, size of cars, about 20 to 40 yards over my head, and the one dissipated and the other one started to project paragraphs of information into my head. And I'm sitting there with a beer and a cigarette, and I'm climbing up the back of the garage door like, oh my God, this is not happening. You know, I never seen a UFO before, studied them my whole life. And I'm like, I'm not getting all that information you're sending me. You know, I was excited, scared, emotional, whatever. And then it just slowed down. It started to give me like bullet points. And number one was stop eating meat. Number two was stop eating meat. So, so for the first week, I forgot bacon and pepperoni were meat. And after that, I stopped eating meat. And there were other things going on that I really needed to get in detail in the book, and I did not. Because there were other things on that list that I remember that I just didn't talk about. And some of them I touch on and the importance of it. I think a lot of the things that were going on with me during that time, that it was a 3-week-month period, that's when I really started to have some strong experiences. The Mandela Effect is the only one that went commercial. Then I had I would have a question and I would get the answer through some paranormal thing. I would have another question, and then I would
a reconnection. Like now you're connected and able to ask questions and get the answers, and they come from that what starts out as still small voice, and now it's loud and clear, and you can hear it.
Yeah, but the reason I can hear it is because I did what the orb said not to do. Stop doing this, start doing this, act this way, do this, stand up straight. I mean, stop biting your nails. I don't, whatever it was.
Look up. That's when I was told. I was told to look up.
It was more important. It's more important that they told me my personal things. You guys might have something else that you have to do to be able to experience this stuff. But I'm pretty sure number 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the list they gave me is probably for everybody. I'm not going to say it is for everybody, but it probably is. I mean, there's a lot of interesting. It makes sense to me. It just makes sense. The energy in your body needs to stay there, and so you can use it. And at that time, the energy was staying in my body. I had stars communicate with me. I ain't got time to think about nothing else. No, I'm not thinking about getting in a relationship or having one or nothing else. There was no way that was happening.
It's breathtaking, isn't it? It's when something like this happens to you, it's breathtaking. And for me, it was like, what? How come I never learned this? I felt like, we should have all known this. It should have been common knowledge. And then, when it happens, I'm really going to dive deep on this topic because you're right in my playground now. So, yeah, when this happened to you, how did you feel? Did you have any kind of religious upbringing or anything in your culture that, you had going on in your, previous that when this happened to you, you like were struggling with like, wait a minute, or were you just completely open to it and jump right through that door?
I was open to it. I mean, I went through a lot of pain. I huddled in a corner and I could feel evil leaving my body. I mean, I could feel lies leaving my body. And I thrived on it every night. Like I'd wake up in the morning, it was really cloudy and hazy. I was unemployed at the time by choice because I knew that this stuff was coming. It would be just like me to plan it that way. Never been without a job before. I was waking up in a robe, staying in a robe all day, go outside, have a cigar, Do what I want when I want. Wasn't tethered to time. I think that's very important. I think not being tethered to time really helped me experience quite a few things. I didn't wasn't worried about when I was going to sleep, when I was going to eat, or anything else. But I was excited. I was scared. The emotions were off the chart. I was freaking out. I mean, oh my God, the stars are coming at me for 2.5, 3 minutes, and like rubber bands just coming at me, and having conversations with my daughter that didn't take place, but I've proof that it took place. TV people coming out of the TV asking me what I'm waiting for. The experiences just kept happening. They would change. Things were weird. The blood moons. I sat up. I sat on that back and just watched it. I watched it the whole time. I don't think I took my eyes off it the whole time that it happened. And it just was blowing my mind because I do remember one specific thing about that. The way the shadow came in and went out made no sense to me. Made no sense to me. And I never tried to explore it or try to figure out why. All I kept thinking is, it can't be right. That can't be the right way it's coming back in. It's wrong. I mean, even if you did this and finagle that and this, it's still wrong. I remember really being bothered by that. Hey, it went in one way and came out a different way. Just saying. It makes you think.
I would be interested in what you think about. I finally got brave enough to put up this photo that my son took, and there's light that's radiating from my eyes and from my chest area. Wow. And I don't know if it's coming in or out. I called it photo phenomena. But, my son sat down and saw this with his naked eye and snapped a photo. And it's so unbelievable because the light was not behaving like what light should do. The light was on the opposite end of the poles of the shelf when the light source was on the other end of it. I mean, I'd be interested in what your thoughts are since you have experienced this phenomena yourself. To me and my son capturing a photo of it blew my mind, and I was very shy about even sharing it with my friends that I knew in the chat forum.
Where did you say this light came from?
The light was either coming into or out of my eyes, like bam. I mean, like bright light, but I didn't see this, okay? And radiating either in or out from my heart area. And there's two distinct light patterns. So there's no way, and because I was trying to debunk it, I was trying to do anything I could to debunk it. I'm like, oh, it's from my glasses. Oh, it's from this. Oh, it's from that. But the light actually goes around the side of my head on the opposite side, so that's not possible. And how would my glasses break in the light and then have it go from my heart straight out?
Well, how do you feel? How do you feel? What do you think it was?
Well, at the moment, what was going on is I felt a warming of my heart, like it was expanding. Like my heart was
wonderful
and just warm and beautiful. And at the time, that time that I was going through, I call it filters, were being removed that were, built up over my lifetime of everything that I was told that I was, that I actually found out that I'm not. I'm something completely different. So
there you go. That was your experience. Your mind is only going to show you what it can handle. I don't know if my mind could have handled lights coming out of me. Okay, but your mind could.
I know.
That's how you're going to know. Well, you're not crazy, so your mind's only going to show you what you can handle. So, but you're going to have to take that experience and interpret it for you. What's it mean for you? To me, yeah, that was a lifting of the veil for you. That was a cleansing of some sort. That's what it sounds like to me. But it's got to be more about what you feel it was or it did.
Right, but I did put it up, and I'm asking, if people to take a look at it. I finally am brave enough to show it. It is actually on my YouTube homepage, that corner little picture, but I actually, blew it up and I explained what the circumstances were. And the amazing part to me was that my son could see it with his naked eye, not quite as bright. When he snapped the photo he took it with his phone. and him and my husband were working on his car, and he came in for a second. And he sat down in my husband's chair, and he said something to me, and I looked over and I was talking to him, and then I looked back over this way towards where my husband was out by the car, and as I was turning, he snapped a photo real quick, and he's like, "Mom, you can't." And then he looked at the picture, and his jaw just dropped. He's like, "Oh my gosh!" And
Oh,
then
he saw it before the picture. Is that why he took the picture?
that's why he took the picture. Wow. Yeah, he saw this anomaly happen, and he snapped a photo. So my son actually captured it and then gave me the photo. And you go through that process of denial and trying to rationalize it, trying to put logic behind it, but then we realize, why do I need to have logic or rationality to it? Just let it be. And once I started, huh?
Do we let it be? I mean, that's the thing.
No.
Right. So letting it be to me would be to just going out and enjoying life. But what's going to happen? Well, I expect to see more. I expect to be joyous all the time. I mean, I expect it. To putting the electronics down, it's not going to be easy because of my job all the time. But I don't have to. I can get away. I don't have to focus on it all the time. Go for a walk and look at the sun, even if it's not yellow. I mean,
have you noticed a difference between watching, television programs to watching friends on YouTube? I have noticed and discerned a huge difference between if I'm watching a network-produced television program or if I'm listening to somebody that is trying to put out a heartfelt message on YouTube. I can feel it. I can feel the authenticity.
That's good, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think the YouTube and the computer, especially YouTube, look, they see most people are gravitating towards YouTube. TV's losing, cable, I don't know what's going on, but I think YouTube just recently surpassed the number of every TV show ever put on. I think YouTube just surpassed that number.
Really?
That's what I just heard. Yeah, I heard that probably last year, but that was another timeline, so who knows?
I have to tell you, right before we did this interview, I walked out into the backyard to grab I have an owl. His name is, I named him Magi after a good friend of mine. And although you don't see him now, I put him close to me. And when I was walking back, it was like I was walking sideways. I got like really dizzy, and I came, and then I straightened back out, and I came into the garage where my computer and everything is, and my husband was sitting here, and I was like, I think we just, had that black cat. Is that the same black cat, or was there a change in the matrix? Because I felt it. I felt, the walking sideways type feeling.
Okay. On that note, I think something's coming right now. I mean, I've spoken about this on Dark Wolf's Den.
Dark Wolf's Den.
Yeah, we were just rapping back and forth, and I'm like, wow, this is stuff I gotta write down and talk about and organize and investigate. It was we were talking about the false flag, and then you got Did I talk about this with you?
No, not yet. But by the way, guys, a little channel maintenance. Dark Wolf's Den is right now he's still listed under my Divine Friends playlist, which anybody I interview, you will be able to find their channel link very easily there. And he's also in my featured channels. So if you're looking for him, that's where you will find his channel link. And if you're looking for Mandela Effect and some science behind it and the studies that he does, he really is diving deep into the why and trying to put things together in a scientifically based way to try and make it more digestible for maybe those who have their face buried in their phone. That they want to know the why in between instead of just being. So no, you did not talk about the false flag. So proceed.
Well, what I've come up with, and I talked about it with on Dark Wolf's channel. We both were kind of going back and forth with it. It's like I'll give him all credit. I don't care. We were talking about. I said, well, that's funny because I haven't seen a false flag in a while. I would expect one soon. And he said, well, there was something that happened in Texas and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I really don't want to know. And he said, okay, just letting you know that that's there. You know, the thing that I said, hey, that hasn't happened. Okay, that was put into place. Now, what that does is everybody jumps into fear and oh my God, and oh, it's so sad and whatever. We have all this upset, negative energy going on. After that, I also mentioned that I haven't seen any chemtrails in a while.
I
So,
haven't either. Yeah,
well, guess what? I opened my mouth, and then today I said that. I said, you know what's going to happen? I said,
you're gonna see
after
it.
this false flag thing, you're going to start seeing chemtrails. Boom. They started dotting the skies. That was today. Now he talks about how we lose magnesium, and he thinks that has something to do with it. That could be that doing that. I'm going to load up on magnesium tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to make a difference or not, but we'll see because I'm already starting to feel, I want to say agitated, but I'm not because of this. I get it. You know,
Right.
it's so I've gotten out of here and now I can just feel it in my skin. My body feels great. I'm healthy. I love it. This is wonderful, but I can feel the agitation. So I kind of feel a shift coming on and I'm saying it's connected to the full moon. And I think it might be. He's still doing research on that. I don't know. These are just thoughts and theories and I'm saying this is what I'm saying. I heard somebody said we shift every Sunday. I'm like, oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing?
Well, maybe they do. They could shift every Sunday. That might be what they have created for themselves. You know,
You're
I was
absolutely
talking
right.
about the
Because if we can do it,
overlapping that we do. You know, as we are all in this together, we kind of buffer each other, and that's where we have to show the patience and the kindness because people that don't understand what's going on, they put out energy signatures too, and you could be getting more and more sensitive as you're progressing along and feeling the angst or anxiety that they're feeling from this, false flag event. Just
I thought
another
so
theory to
too.
throw at you, just something else to, rattle
I
around
agree
in
with
there.
that. I agree with that. I also think it has something to do with, hey, if you want to have a nice smooth transition through these shifts, stop eating meat. I mean, I can almost feel that. Take better care of yourself. Probably get more magnesium. I'm going to test that
It's
because
interesting. You got the messages, and mine were stop watching TV and look up. I needed to look up more and pay attention to what was going on around me and get away from the television. So I was asked to do something different, but and we talk about that a lot as each of us are individuals. The universe talks to us individually, but there's some things that we have in common. I want to ask you, Suso, do you have ringing in your ears? Do you hear tones, high pitched
I get it.
frequencies?
Every once in a while, I get it. And if
Okay.
a couple of times I fought it off, or I'll say no or whatever. Um, there was a couple of times where I said okay, and I completely accepted it. I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm experimenting. Who knows? I get that ringing. The one time that I tried to push it away, it was a larger tone that kind of went over it and came in, and I was like, oh whoa, I can't get rid of that.
How
That
did it
happened
feel when
once.
those orbs? What was the sensation in your body? And do you remember what you heard besides the audible understanding you were given? What did you feel in your
There
body?
was no audible. It was paragraphs of information. I didn't hear anything. It was just there. It was like
I
stop
see
eating
it.
meat. They didn't say it. I didn't hear a word. I didn't hear anything. I just knew to stop eating meat. And I'm like kind of looking at the cigarette and the beer, and they're like, we don't care about that. That's the
Right.
impression I got. We don't care about the cigarette and the beer. Stop eating meat. Stop releasing sexual energy. Stand up straight. Stop gossiping. Get out of your head. Stop thinking. Um,
Get out of your own way, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the things that I needed to do to experience the things that I went ahead and experienced. I automatic wrote. Um, I haven't tried that since. I probably should. Um, I don't know, but as far as deep, I heard some things. I woke up this morning having this dream. I rarely recall dreams. I remembered this dream plain as day. I am a part of something. I am a piece. I am the piece that's missing. And I understood exactly what it was. By the time my feet hit the floor, I had no idea what it was. I knew that much. I know, wow. I just knew exactly what I was. What was that all about? I come over. I took my time. I said, let me go check my mail, whatever. I jump on YouTube and I see a message come up. And I'm gonna say it was can't remember his title. Conscious. Can't remember the name of his channel. He put out the thing in the title. I didn't watch any of it. It just said, are we missing something? Is that why we're always searching? Or something to that effect. And I'm like, whoa. And then somebody else said something about, and this was also part of that dream, but I just can't put my finger on it. Is the Mandela Effect. And I really wish I could give credit to this person. I'm sorry. I'm sure somebody will find it out there and we give this person credit for this. But is the Mandela Effect sentient?
I'll tell you what, Suso, whenever we finish this broadcast, if you find the link, since you're quoting from it, I will link it below after your channel and book and show the respect for the credit for the research.
That'd be great. I'm not actually quoting anything from it. I did not click on it. These are things I saw on the side.
Okay.
Is the Mandela Effect sentient? And I got the impression that this person, thought so. And I thought, a couple times that I tried to get away from it, it was blasted in my face. JFK was shown to me when I was trying to get away from it. I'm not going to get away from that. I studied the JFK assassination. For me, there was always 4 people in the car, or at least there was back then. So it didn't matter. Did that make it sentient? Okay, so now when I say I'm going out to create, is it making me think I'm creating? That makes it sentient. It's the Mandela Effect and the other things that happen to me that are making me believe, you know what? I might not be able to create and stop things from happening and all that, but I can create from my perspective. It doesn't have to be about anything that's going on outside of my perspective. If I'm going to jump online, then I broaden my perspective to encompass a bunch of garbage, quite frankly, because that's not me experiencing life. That's me experiencing a flat screen TV and somebody else telling stories, and they're lies. Well, even if they're not lies, they're lies. It doesn't matter. It's not you. Go outside, talk to people. Listen, when I was on my vacation for 3 days, I walked into this little amusement park. There were 5 rides. Okay. So I spent the whole day up there, did some cave tours. I walked around. I'd say 3 of the rides I'd never do. There's no way I'm getting in something that just drops. Another one is a swing that goes off a cliff that's 8,000 feet down. And I'm thinking, well, I get sick on those things when they're on the ground. Why am I going to get up on it up there? And there was another one that just totally swang out, and you're looking down 8,000 feet, and nothing. It's like you're strapped in, but it's like nothing there. What else was there? Oh, and there was a zip lining thing. And I'm like, I'm not really into that. But I looked at this one and I thought, that don't look that bad. Let me try it. Okay, I did it. Because I sat here going, wait a minute. I was impaled. What am I afraid of?
Right?
So I got heck with it. Just do it. I'm sitting there telling people, get out there, do things that are different. That'll shift you. Get in a good mood. Go out and do something you've been procrastinating on. Do something you'd never do before. Stop doing something you shouldn't be doing. This is how you shift. That was a year ago. I did a video like that. So now I'm going, what am I thinking? Of course, man. I get all excited, bubbling it up. Boom. I do this Zip lining thing, nothing. I mean, it was exciting at first, but then I was like, oh my god, that was a piece of cake. I could do that 100 more times. It's nothing. And I get off. Then I go, okay, let's go to the other ones. So, well, you know what? I am not doing that mine shaft where I did just drop down. I'm not doing that. But let me go try the swings. Oh my God. Every time I went off that cliff where there was 8,000, it was like, and I'm like, shift. It's like I could the excitement. I'm like, you know what? I could be. This is wild. And I did that and I went ahead and did the other swing. And then finally I was walking around, ran into some lady I was talking to earlier, and she said, oh, you go on the mind thing. You have to. So I went ahead and did it. I said, why? Yeah, what am I doing? I can't say no to anything. If somebody wants me to go skydiving, boy, I better get in the right frame of mind. I better watch some of my old videos telling me get out there and do something that you'd never do. That's why I think a tattoo would probably be a lot easier. I
Yeah,
would never
put
get a
tattoo that
tattoo.
reminder on you.
I would never get a tattoo in a million years. And now I think, the first shot I get, I'm going to do it. And I don't know why I would do such a thing, but I figure, you know what? I want to put it on my right arm. So no, I'm going to put it on my left arm. I don't know. I'm going to see
That's
if
what
it
life is
switches over, switches
about.
sides.
Instead of just sitting there and being complacent, we are to be active, living,
Yeah,
enjoying it. It's a playground. Create it. Have
absolutely.
fun. Now, when we talk about creating, I am in a total agreement. What I found is when you got to get your own house in order first, and what happens in the micro will happen out in the macro
Right.
around you. Now, a friend of mine, Mel, we were talking about chemtrails earlier. She tested a theory that she didn't have any, and then right when she said it, they were there. And then, of course, they went away again. I tested that too. Same thing happened to me. Now, you just brought it up. That's third person that said that. So now we know if we think about it, we'll see it then. So if we want beautiful
Yeah, but
blue skies, that's what we need to think on.
you're right. But if we're sitting here thinking, it doesn't matter now because you really got to change your belief system on that. It's the only way, really, because now you look in the sky and you don't see any chemtrails. What are you thinking? Hey, no chemtrails. You're focusing on chemtrails,
Oh
no
my
matter
God,
what we do.
no.
So,
I say, oh my gosh, look at these beautiful blue skies with these
uh,
puffy
um,
clouds. Look at the sky behind me in my picture. This is an actual photo that I took with the pink and purple clouds with the turquoise blue, and off in the background is some mountains, and these are beautiful skies that I'm experiencing. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Hey guys, we're just about at an hour. Does anybody in the chat have any questions for Suso? Let me look over there.
and I'll answer one of the questions now. Yes, the
Oh, you've
artist
been
and
paying attention.
designer of the cover is Photo Helix. You want to, if you know him, I'm sure you could tell him what kind of job he's done.
Yeah, he's also in my featured channels. So if you're looking for Photo Helix, he's in my featured channels. Uh, yeah, there's some amazing people out there that are putting content out there to help other people to come along with this understanding. It's, we've been waiting for this time in many people for a millennia, and here we are in it. Let's not squander it. Let's enjoy it. Live your life in this new understanding. We're coming out of Pisces. We're on the dawning of Aquarius. That's to be the golden age, the age of knowing, restoration. Even if you look at it from the biblical sense, God's promise that it would be the millennial reign of Christ, that 1,000-year reign. What did we expect for it to be? I know people theorized. I know people are waiting to be raptured out of here.
Mm.
I don't want to leave here now that I've got a better concept and grasp on what's going on. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful place.
And I just noticed something else. Last few days, it's been very cloudy, and on the other side of the clouds, you'll see those trails. But it's been very cloudy and hazy, and that's something else that I've noticed has been going on right before what could possibly be a shift. This would be the first time. I mean, believe it or not, as long as I've been at this, This could be the first time that I'm actually conscious of, hey, I am not going to feel aggravated. I know it's not. I know it's not me. I'm going to get rid of this. So I kind of pushed it out. It's a kind of out.
We're
I can
moving to
still
life.
feel it.
Got a question in the chat for
Oh,
you,
that's good.
and it is from Willie. He wants to know, what is your latest ME effect?
This is who was that? I didn't tell anybody this. During my vacation.
He wants the personal one.
Yeah, it's a personal one. During my vacation, the place that I decided I was going to go to, I had a very bad wheel. The bearings in the wheel were really bad, probably since '05. No, I'm sorry, since 2011 when I bought it. No, I bought this in 12. So I just always knew they were bad, but everybody said, yeah, eventually you got to get it fixed. No big deal, whatever. And then the other day, it kind of was like, yeah, I can't really take this car far. I could tell I got to get this thing fixed. But I was supposed to go on vacation, and that was like the 3 weeks of me kind of unplugging. I didn't, I postponed it the first week, postponed it the second week, postponed it to the third week, and I said, heck with it, I'm going. Now, I said, no, this is the last trip for this car. That's what I'm going to do. So I jump in the car and I keep looking up. I'm looking up the name of the place I'm going. And during the time I left and the time I got there, I'm 95% sure the name of the place changed. But now in between that, I keep thinking, hey, maybe in a few timelines that tire flew off. I ended up in a ditch, or flew off a canyon, or I don't know. Because when I got in when I got there and I pulled into the hotel room, I thought, I'm not moving that car. And I walked by a car shop and I thought, you know what? Let me bring it to them just to look at it, to see. And they were like, we have no idea how your tire is still on the car. No idea how you made it here. I don't care how far you were driving. So, and in between there, the name of the place lost an N. But but see, I say I'm 95% sure. Honestly, I'm probably more like 78% sure, 81% sure. But,
So you're still being affected.
It said to me that, hey, you know what? I'm either shifting consciously because of the emotion. Now, if a tire flung off my car, I'm going to have emotion that's going to, hit me. If I did shift, now I get to this place, the name's different, and I kind of shrug it off. I'm during my little 3-day vacation. I'm talking with a girl, and I'm asking her, what color or stripe is underneath the stars on a flag? And she says red. Plain as day. By the time she got every question wrong, and then I get to the flag, and I said, look, I'm sorry, it's white. And she says, I said white. And I'm thinking, and she was adamant. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to argue with you. I believe you. You're never wrong. Was that one of these things where she said one thing, I heard something else? I mean, did I want her to say red? But she said red, plain as day. It wasn't like I had to make it up or my mind played tricks on me. But people have done that a few times. I'll be asking them questions at the bar, and what color's the yield sign? They say yellow, and they'll go white, red, white, yellow. What?
Yellow.
And I'm like,
I remember yellow triangle upside down with black letters saying yield.
See, I remember yellow diamond. I remember yellow diamond, yellow yield.
Really? Wow.
But then it changed to a yellow I'm sorry, then it changed to a red diamond, and this was last December. It was a red diamond, and I'd be at the bar and I'd say, what color's the yield sign? And they'd go yellow, and I'd say, no, it's a red diamond, and I'd show them a picture of it on my phone. Nobody was arguing with me that it wasn't a diamond. I looked at it, saw it. I recall going, okay, diamond. And I remember looking at it a few times, like, what is that? Is that a diamond? Is that a triangle? What is that? Is that a square? And then it would hit me, and I'm like, okay, diamond. I'd show the people. Nobody argued with me. But now you can't find a red diamond. It's all upside down red triangle. But a lot of people say upside down yellow triangle.
Yeah, that's what I remember is a yellow triangle upside down. A pyramid upside down. And yield red to me is stop. And when you're yielding, all you're doing is you're checking. You're just for a second, and that doesn't mean you have to stop. So if it would be red, that would mean that would be like a four-way stop, not a yield. So that's odd.
Red is stop. Right, exactly. And I have other people saying, well, wait a minute. My girlfriend got in trouble. Somebody say, my girlfriend got in trouble because she stopped at a yield sign because it was red. A cop pulled her over for that. And she's like, well, it's red. You stop. I don't know. But she had a trigger. She had her own trigger for knowing why it was yellow, which I thought was interesting because I have a trigger where I know Nelson Mandela at least I was in a timeline where he died in 89, I think it was. I have a trigger point for, well, that one, but that's why, I have, there's a trigger point. I think you'll experience something. That makes sense.
When you feel it, it's like you feel it all the way. Like for me, when I saw the biblical changes or ones that, really resonated, it's like a whole tingly feeling went through my whole body. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, what? And, when you talk to people that don't understand this stuff going on, they think we're crazy. I can tell you they think we're crazy. They think we're losing our marbles.
I am very not interested in what people think about me. I don't care. It's funny because I've dished this book out and, I've had people commenting on it and some people are just like, woo-hoo. I'm like, you know what? I don't really care.
No, if you're not meaning to be woo-woo at all. You're just telling the truth.
I've been called and I'm answering. And I just want to answer a question in chat.
Sure.
Laurel. That's what I heard.
That's actually what I heard when Moneybags did his video. But when the news people passed it around, I heard both Yanni and Laurel. It depended on who was holding the device. It was really, that's why I say it reminds me of the double slit, experiment where when there was an observer, the laser acted a certain way. Where there wasn't an observer, it went everywhere, and so there wasn't any observer to, direct it or affect the experiment.
Yeah, the thing is, I really thought there was some kind of agenda back behind that, and there still may be. But if people are catching it both ways, same recording, if it's the same recording in both ways, then I don't know. I'm not sure. But what I realized is communication is becoming distorted. At least verbal, I should say, verbal communication is becoming distorted. And, is that the next form of Mandela effect coming in? Is it going to be bigger or is it just going to keep getting subtler? Because so what? And that dress thing, so what? What am I missing?
Yeah, I saw both on that too. I saw the gold and white and I saw the blue and black. And
I only saw one. I forget what one.
After a while, these effects don't have that effect. It just becomes a part of your life. You get comfortable in it and you just watch things get better and better and better. You stop looking at the distractions or the, as I would call them, signposts, the helping hands that are helping us along this path that we are all taking and getting us, where we need to be, and which is just like what you said, enjoying your life, experiencing your life. You're in this physical body for a reason. You're here to, taste that good food, hear that good music, watch those beautiful waterfalls,
meet people,
touch,
talk to people,
hug. We don't have these emotions and senses for no purpose. That we're here to expand and grow and love one another.
Awesome.
If I can give anybody any advice, it would be to be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself as you are, evolving into this understanding of who and what we are. And I want to tell you that the link for Susso's book is in the description box. Can you want to go ahead and give them what your price is? You said it was $18.50 or
I've dropped it. It's down to $8.50. It's
okay.
$8.50 plus
That's a
shipping.
deal, guys.
Yeah, it was. It started out at 22.22 and then 17.77, 14.77, and I just said, heck with it. Plus, I miscalculate. I didn't miscalculate. I had somebody else look at it for me, and they were basing it on 100 books. I should be basing it on 500 books. I just dropped it right to 850. Making my money back would be great. I don't expect it. I really just want to get the story out. That's, to me, that was the experiences and how I interpreted the experiences. Now, what am I doing about it? And while I'm doing these things about it, I'm also going to be going through some of the things that happened back then. So I can have more experiences, and I expect to. I don't know if they'll be that strong. I don't know if I'll see things. I don't know. I
But
did
that's a
notice.
contribution, my friend. That is a contribution to mankind, to put yourself out there, to put your story out there, to actually write it and have it printed where people can have it in their hand and read your experiences so then they can get an understanding. A lot of people that are going through these things are in hiding because they don't understand what's going on.
And
These
they're not watching
tools.
YouTube, and they're not seeing these things, and they don't know where to get answers. Where are you going to turn? So we were talking about earlier in '79. If I run to the library and find out that it's always been McDonald's, who am I going to tell?
I'll tell you what, if you're eating McDonald's hamburgers, you're not eating meat.
Oh, then that's okay.
I just wanted to throw that at you.
Well, if
It's all soy, right?
is that true? Then that should be great. That should
Yeah,
be.
you're a vegetarian, totally.
Oh my God, that's too funny. Well, in work they call me the worst vegan ever because I tell them, I said, listen, give me bacon and I want you to cook it so much that you cook the meat out. Okay, just cook the meat out for me. That's what I tell them. So, but no, that's part of it. I need to get some trace minerals and some protein supplements and some magnesium and start my little journey here.
That sounds wonderful. Okay, guys, I'm going to zip this up. I want to thank everybody for coming. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Check out Susso's channel. He also has a YouTube platform that he's put out. Pretty interesting stuff there. You can find him on my homepage under My Divine Family. He is also listed in my featured channels. So that's it for tonight. Michelle's Opinions. Make sure you guys get that book. Thank you. Peace.